So sigils, right? If you want to start doing nightmare dungeons, you're going to need a tier 1 sigil to start. Unless you have buddies that have tier 3 and up that can run you through this. By yourself, you're going to need a tier 1 sigil. These can drop from like events, just different open world activities, hell tides. They can drop from dungeons, anything. They can drop from Whispering Tree. You could do Whispering Tree events. And then once you have enough points, you take it over to the Whispering Tree. You get a crate. And once you get that crate, you can then open it, and it does have a chance to drop some sigils for you. If you just got level 50, and you have only tier 1 sigils, you're going to have them in your inventory. Like right now I have tier 7 though, but you're going to have a tier 1 sigil. And what you do is you take that tier 1 sigil, and you activate it. It's going to spawn on a random dungeon in the open world. It could be like Bloodsoaked Crag, Sealed Archives, it could be anywhere. It'll mark it on the map. You then go to it. The Nightmare Dungeon has different bonuses, like it says on here. Like this one has lightning damage. I'll deal more lightning damage. And then monsters have Death Pulse, and they do increased fire damage. Or monsters deal an additional 15% of their physical damage as fire. So there's different bonuses and stuff you want to look for depending on what you're trying to avoid. And what's going to happen is you're going to run that tier 1. If there is an event in the dungeon, I recommend doing it, because those events drop sigils, and you can get a tier 2 sigil from the dungeon. You'll then run the tier 2 dungeon, and you want to try to get a tier 3 sigil to drop. Once you have a tier 3 sigil, you run the tier 3 sigil dungeon, and as soon as that's unlocked, your occultist in town is going to have a quest for you. And what this quest is going to do is she's going to teach you how to craft and salvage sigils. So right here we have the sigil crafting. Well, this is to break down sigils. So we can actually just pop some of these and we'll get sigil powder. And then we have the crafting here. So if you're in World Tier 3, you can do all the way up to 20. World Tier 4, 21 and up. Goes all the way to 100. You're going to need exponential amounts of sigil powder to craft those. But if you're just starting and you're just level 50, you're going to be doing World Tier 3. And these sigils right here, you can craft. And you can actually craft these repeatedly. So if I craft like 5 of these, and let's say like Cold Enchant, Empowered Elites have Cold Enchant. I don't want to do those. I can just throw that to the side. Stormbane's Wrath chases players around. That's fine. That's an easy one. Nightmare Portals will spawn. That one's an okay one to do. There's ones that have different things on the affixes on the dungeon that you may not want to do, especially if you're a hardcore character. Like Blood Blisters you might not want to do, or Cold Enchant, because cold is very scary when you're playing hardcore, because you can get frozen and get killed. But that, I mean, essentially that's all you're going to have to do to get get your crafting unlocked. You're going to have to get those tier 1 sigils to drop, and then keep farming until you get all the way up to a tier 3 sigil. As soon as you run that dungeon, you'll unlock crafting from your occultist. Secondary though, if you have a buddy who's doing nightmare dungeons already and they already have it unlocked, you could have them run a tier 3 plus dungeon for you, and you tag along with them. As soon as you're done with the dungeon, you'll have sigil crafting unlocked. So you could do it that way as well, either or. But this is the best way to get started with nightmare dungeons, and I can show you one right now. So if I was to use this is a tier 2 though. Let's use Cold, and we're not going to do those. So we have a tier 1 and we have a tier 4 here. Sure, we'll use this tier 4 one. So we're going to accept it, which I already had one active, but it just wiped it. This is active. We press the map button. For the most part, if you activate it for the first time, it'll show it where it is. And the Blizzard team for Diablo has actually announced that they're going to have some changes to Nightmare Dungeons, where they're going to spawn you at the location, so you can actually teleport to the Nightmare Dungeon, so you can easily chain Nightmare Dungeons back to back instead of having to walk all the way. We got lucky though, and this one spawned right here. So this is the Nightmare Dungeon. We pop in. I think this one had the like electric circle that follows you around, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called, but we'll see here. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, this is the Nightmare Dungeon. Yeah, Stormbane's Wrath will chase me around. He's going to be somewhere in here. Or not it's like a pillar. It's going to chase me around. We'll probably see it here in a second. Yeah, I have no idea where it is. Said it's going to chase me around, but... And then I believe they're level 54. So I ran a tier 7. And they were level 60. Was it a tier 7? It's either 53 or 54. It starts, and as it tiers up, it levels up. But I'm not going to run this one right now because it would just... You know, take forever for the stream. Well, we can run it. We can run it. I'll just run it all the way through. This one's just a free prisoner one. I mean, you could kill them off for the XP. This is like a little bit of a lower one, though. I was doing like level 60s earlier. Like level 60 enemies. Which was pretty decent clear. See right here, it dropped another sigil. It's probably going to be around the same level as we are. Tier 6. Or not the same level as we are. Same level as the tier of the Nightmare Dungeon we're running. So they'll drop in the inside just like that one dropped. And then we have to free prisoners. Got 2 more. I don't know where the conduit is. It's supposed to be following me around. It's not here. I don't know. That's the first time I haven't seen it follow me around. It's just non-existent right now. It's weird. Alright, release the last prisoner. Alright. Now we gotta slay the possessed brute and collect the jail key. Wherever he is. Here he is right here. So we'll take him down real quick. Get that key. Probably gonna have to go up here. Use the key. Wherever it is. Where's the entrance? Here it is. Alright. Now we have another challenge to slay all the enemies, and this is probably the last one. I mean, I hope this is the last one. Mostly, probably once we get the last one done, it'll pop up here. Another sigil just dropped. So sigils will be dropping in the dungeon for you, so you can check them out and see if you want to run them. If not, you can take them back to the occultist and salvage them for that powder to create better ones that you actually want to run. And the objective of these is, I mean, it's an in-game activity, so the objective of these is just to do as many of these as possible and get your sigils upgraded, and then get your build to be able to push higher level nightmares, because the higher level the nightmare, the better, more XP you'll get for your sigils at the end, which I will show you once we get to the end of the dungeon. So we gotta slay all the way through here. Yeah, it looks like there's a boss at the end of this dungeon. Go into the boss. I'm gonna wait for my shouts for a sec. Well, actually, we already started it. Or I didn't. Okay. I walked back when it was spawning the fog. Alright, shouts are up. I'm just gonna nuke them. Use my ultimate at the same time. Yeah, so then it spawns this bubble. You'll get rewards for the dungeon, so you get 2. Most of the time, you always get a legendary out of it, so... Not most of the time, you always get a legendary dropped, and then whatever... Something else that's secondary. We got another sigil that drops. We actually got 3 sigils out of this dungeon. Bunch of tier 6, tier 5, and a tier... I think that might have been a tier 1. I don't know. But here, I'm going to upgrade my marshal. We get 10 XP for this allocation. For that, and then we have another 9. So... You can keep upgrading your glyphs this way. This is how you would chain run them, and then we would either exit the dungeon, or you can activate another one, and it'll kick you out of the dungeon. You look for it where it is on the map. But if we exit the dungeon first, before activating it, at this time, in the future this will be changed. So if you're watching this video and it's like a couple months old, I'm sure Nightmare Dungeons have been switched by then, and they're going to be easier to run, because you can teleport to them. But if we were to use, let's just use this tier 1, because I'm not even going to run it. Actually, I don't have access to that, so like that. Press the map key. It actually shows us where it is. We mark it, and then we zoom out to where our waypoint would be. That we would just teleport here. Yeah, but that's all you're gonna need to know for getting started with your in-game content past level 50 for Nightmare Dungeons. When it comes to getting them and then crafting new sigils to further push your build, whatever build you're using, whether you're trying to push highest nightmares or get your glyphs upgraded. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see all of you in the next one.